showtime.
Yes, it is. It is showtime. Welcome, everybody, to the live show. I am your host. Oh, I don't know. Where am I? I am your host, Robert, a.k.a. The Tall Man. This is my lovely wife, Lisa, and co-host, a.k.a. Mrs. Tall Man. Not that anyone ever calls her that. We are coming to you live right now from Tall Man Mobile in Phoenix, Arizona, where it is triple digits right now.
And Robert has a new record of how many pieces of popcorn he can catch in his mouth.
15! Yeah, 15. Anyway, we have a huge show for you guys tonight. Oh my God, all kinds of news, hurricanes, just bans, all kinds of stuff. So let's get into it a little bit. We got to bring up balcony cam here, right? We can't start. I mean, Macrina's been trying to steal our balcony cam shots.
Hey, she's got some great balcony cam shots.
I'd sit out there all day.
I would too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Macrina.
Yes,
and Tom and Ashley, by the way, all for coming on the show with us live over the past couple weeks. We had Ashley on the Icon of the Seas live. And then last week on Sunday, so just a week ago yesterday, we had Tom and Macrina on with us when they were on the Horizon, which is where we're going to be in just a little over a year.
Right?
Just,
Yay! Where's your...
I don't know where it is.
countdown?
There it is, right there.
Yay!
Over there, our group cruise. So anyway, but we got a ton of news, and like I said, there's hurricanes and stuff out there. So let's just get right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Here's the latest cruise news with your host, the Tall Man.
Yes, and co-host, lovely Lisa. Normally we would start off with the news, but I think the current news, honestly, the big news is the weather. So let's get right to it. There are two major systems out there. There is John, which is over there sort of in Mexico to the left of the screen down there. It is currently a Category 2. It is expected to become a Category 3 before it hits land, which is going to be a little bit south of Acapulco. So if you're sailing in the next couple of days or so, heading down towards that way, your sailings may be affected by John. Now, you can see this is about a 5-day loop, guys. And even though it does come on land, it just doesn't seem to go very far. And it just kind of... It's a mess. Now, it's not as neat and organized as that other one, which is unnamed at this point, because currently it is not, it's just a developing low. Number 9 is what they're calling it, but I think it'll be Helene here in the next day. And it is projected to come up through the Florida Panhandle, as you're seeing on the screen right now, as a Category 3. That just changed today. They had been forecasting the Category 2, but now it seems though it may strengthen to a Category 3 in the next 3 to 4 days. So anyone going out of Tampa, New Orleans, or to be honest, even the east coast of Florida, whether it's Port Canaveral, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, if you're heading down into the Caribbean basin, especially if you're going to Cancun or Cozumel or anything like that, your itineraries may be altered and changed. So please contact your travel agents. Stay close to the emails because, of course, the cruise lines are really good at emailing you to let you know of these changes. My guess is you'll still be able to get to where you need to go, but you may end up having to do it in reverse. So if Cancun was your first stop, it may be the last stop. Because they may have to...
I think you mean Cozumel.
Cozumel. Did I say Cancun? Cozumel.
Again.
I'm so sorry. Cozumel. Golly, guys. We're starting off right away with a mad cow. Cozumel.
Didn't take long.
Didn't take long. No. But yeah, they may just reverse the itinerary. That way they can go to the east first to stay away from the storm and then circle back around it once the waters have calmed again.
Yeah, hopefully you'll get all your ports in.
Yes, I'm quite sure you will. But so lots of icky weather out there. Outside of those two, as you can see from the forecast here, it is just, or at least the projected models that we're looking at, outside of your normal tropical or normal sort of summer sort of storms down there in the Caribbean, it's going to be calm. But let's get these two storms out of the way and then get back to cruising. Now, hopefully... areas that these storms impacted are not impacted too hard. I do know they're forecasting a pretty high storm surge there for the Panhandle of Florida. So our prayers, thoughts and prayers go to the folks that live in the Panhandle. Okay, so there you go. So
I was going to say, as well as in Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah, absolutely, yeah, because it just, man, that's a lot of rain. And it's not going anywhere. It's just hovering and staying there.
And that's when you definitely get a lot of rain. And
yeah. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So before we get into the news stories, let's say hello to everybody because we didn't do that at the very beginning. So, Macrina, again, howdy and welcome back to dry land. I'm sure you are already jonesing to be back out at sea.
I know we are.
Hello, Bev. How are you tonight? Good evening, Gina. Danny Mac, welcome, buddy. Good to see you with us.
Danny Mac!
He's partying, playing, and dancing with us. And does that mean you have popcorn too there, buddy? Yeah, I got that 15 times.
Yeah.
Before I missed one. Not bad. He says, by the way, 4 days before we go dancing with Helena. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a mess, I think.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
But look, these things have a way of shifting. In fact, today's track was a little bit different than yesterday's. So just, it's going to hit land somewhere. I think that's a given at this point now. It is going to be a hurricane, more than likely major. Let's hope it doesn't get any stronger than a 3, but pay attention to your local forecasters and hopes that it is as minimal as possible.
Pray for those wind shears to tear that thing apart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Patricia says, hello, and 58 and a half weeks to go. That's right, 410 days,
Woo-hoo!
19 hours, 53 minutes, and 43 seconds, to be exact.
Looking forward to it.
I know. Hello, Nurse Tara. How are you? It is showtime.
Yes.
Danny says, all at one time on the popcorn.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Wonder how many I could catch
He's
if I
got
did
a big
that.
mouth, but I don't know about that.
Hello, Mamie Radar. Welcome from New Mexico. We're not far from you. Hello, Group Cruise. I hope we got good preview for everyone. Yeah, I think you did. We enjoyed what we saw.
Yeah,
We're excited to get on
absolutely.
the ship, right?
Yes.
And Mamie Radar is a popping her popcorn. Cowzamel. I know, Tony. I don't know what's going on. I just... Hello, Mini-Me. Welcome to the show, Mini-Me. Alyssa, our daughter. Anyway, Mini-Me. Karina says, yes, I would rather be cruising. I put in 12 hours of work today trying to get caught up.
Oh, no.
I only had 856 emails. I normally get over 1,000 when I take vacation. Well, I guess it's not too bad. So, all right, so we've said hello to everybody. We appreciate y'all being here. Let's get to some of the news because there is a ton of news, everybody. We are going to start off in Marseille. Marseille is in the news with the cruise line.
Oui, oui.
Oui, bonjour. French fries. Anyway, there's been a bunch of activists there activating.
Oh, jeez.
They blocked the cruise port and prevented 3 ships from coming in there. So that affected the MSC World Europa, one of the ADA cruises, the ADA Estella, and the Costa ship Esmeralda. They were unable to get into port.
Oh, my goodness.
So, this seemed to be happening more and more. And it seems that the authorities don't do a lot about it. So hopefully they can find some middle of the ground to let them have their voice, but also let the cruise ships do what they need to do and what these passengers who've paid for vacation can do. So there you go. Let's see. Next on the list. What is that? Why is that there? Why don't you go over there? Anyway. Oh, norovirus.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. This is happening on a P&O ship.
Oh.
It is.
Oh my.
It's on a 30-day round trip cruise out of Southampton, and it just left a couple days ago. And there are already actually it left on September 3rd, so it's been out for actually a little bit of time. I apologize. There's been almost 100 reported cases,
No.
both passengers and crew. Of norovirus. For those who are new to cruising that don't know what norovirus is, basically it's a stomach virus. It is highly contagious. And 99.999% of the time this is not a fatal thing. It's just it happens because people don't wash their hands, and then they touch things, and then you come behind them and touch the same things they touched, and now you're ill.
Just make sure you wash your hands every chance you get.
People make fun of, you go on the cruise ships and the people standing at the buffet and they're like, no washy, no eaty, or whatever they say, right?
No yummy.
No yummy.
Yeah.
It's a real thing, guys.
It is.
To prevent norovirus, you just got to wash your hands. This is not a hard task, y'all. So we hope those people on the, it's on the Arcadia, by the way, the P&O Arcadia, that they're getting better well and that they have a grips on it. And basically what has to be done is those people need to stay in their cabins and the ship just needs an extra scrubbing, right?
Yeah, we've actually been on a ship before that norovirus was out, and they closed down the buffet line so you can't serve yourself. The servers have to serve you, and basically, I mean, it didn't affect us other than that. We just made sure that we washed our hands frequently,
Which we do anyway.
We do. You touch the stairways, the rails. You go wash your hands. Everything that you touch, you wash your hands, and we were fine. So that's the main thing. You just got to wash your hands.
There's about 2,800 total people on board between passengers and crew. So, yeah. All right, next news piece, everybody. We've got a ton of news. Let's keep on going.
All right.
MSC has the seascape.
Are you having thoughts over there?
I know I want to escape onto the seascape. The MSC Seascape is escaping the storm. They've changed their itinerary. And I'm assuming in the next 24 to 48 hours, even 36 hours, there's going to be a lot of news popping up with itinerary changes from ships coming out of the east coast of Florida, west coast of Florida, New Orleans. I don't think it will affect Galveston. It just all depends on where the storm is and when you come out. I'm not sure, but MSC announced that, and that's why I put that in there, because we're going to see that a lot in the next 3 days. So I would see a lot of updates coming from the cruise lines about itinerary changes because of Helene, or the storm 2. She's not Helene yet, but
to be Helene.
She may be by now. I didn't check just before the broadcast, but she is intensifying. So. So something else, guys. Carnival. It's a Carnival news piece, but this goes for any cruise lines. Okay, guys. If you have to go down to the infirmary, if you got to go down to the medical center, I don't care what the problem is. If you need a Band-Aid, they're going to charge you money.
Yes, they will.
Yes.
Don't think that it's going to be free. It's not.
No. In this particular case, there was a passenger who was on a recent Carnival cruise, and because of medical issues, they needed to check their blood pressure a few times a week. Now, they did not bring their blood pressure, thing from home. They were going to rely on the cruise ship. So they went down to the infirmary, whatever you want to call it, medical center, and had their blood pressure taken. And lo and behold, at the end of the cruise, there was a nice charge on their account for visiting the medical center. And they weren't very happy about it.
I can only imagine.
I can only imagine, too. Something as simple as taking blood pressure. But, guys, guess what? A medical personnel, nurse, maybe even the doctor, but some medical personnel had to administer that test. Okay? Even though it's just a simple blood test, or a blood pressure test. So the point is, guys, if you have to go to the medical facility on a ship, it is going to cost you. Okay, so just don't be surprised. That's why we talk about in some of the videos that we put out, our tips and tricks videos, to bring a little medical kit with you. Like Lisa, she's got a portable blood pressure machine, and she has taken it with us on some cruises before.
I take it with almost all of our cruises, yeah.
Just in case. You just never know. And we have a little emergency kit with the Band-Aids and the wraps and the Neosporin and stuff. And, it doesn't weigh more than a pound, and it's worth that 1 pound in our suitcase to make sure we don't have to go down to the medical center.
Yes, it is, without a doubt.
Because I've had to do that before. I'll give you an example. I got ill when I was on a ship, not seasick. I developed an inner ear nose thing, and it required antibiotics. I had to go down there and get it because I was not well, and it cost me $475. Okay, now at the time I was younger, didn't know about insurance or any of that stuff, and so that came out of pocket. That was just to be seen by them, and they gave Z-Pack. They gave me the Z-Pack. Most people zithromycin, what Z-Pack is. But I did learn something valuable from that. If you didn't know, when you're prescribed Z-Pack in the United States, you take 1 pill on the first day and then 1 pill every other day after that. Oh, I'm sorry, two pills the first day and then one pill every day after that. In Europe, it's 2 pills for 3 days. And it's the same medication.
Same dosage.
Same
dosage.
Take
it much faster.
They just do 2, 2, and 2. And I learned that from the medical staff on board because they were European medical staff. And so from that point on, anytime I have gotten sick, Z-Pack seems to be what the doctors give me. I just do 2, 2, and 2, and it kicks that out of me quicker. Yeah. Anyway, go to the medical center if you need to, but just remember there will be a charge, which is why you carry the insurance, so the insurance, you can file it with them after the fact. get reimbursed. Right? For those who didn't know, there was a tour bus accident in Alaska.
Oh no.
Yes, multiple guests injured, no fatalities. This was
Thankfully.
Yes, this was out of Skagway. There was 24 people on the tour on the tour bus. It is not reported exactly where all the passengers came from because sometimes the tours are from multiple cruise ships. But more than likely, this was mostly off of a Princess ship or a Holland America ship called Princess. Okay, the Holland America Princess. Anyway, the driver suffered some kind of medical emergency, forcing the crash, and the bus rolled.
Oh no.
So there were 12 people that were injured, and they were all treated. Some of them did have to stay a few days, but in the end, all is well. Everybody is well, to include the driver. He is just fine. But it did shut down the highway for about 3 hours. And interestingly enough, they were only about 20 miles out of town, but there's very limited cell service and radio connection there. And it was a couple other tour buses that stopped that turned out to, or ended up being the first responders.
Oh, wow.
And there happened to be some people in the medical field on these different buses, one to include that was on the original tour bus that flipped, and they actually performed all the initial triage there on the site until medical personnel could arrive at the site.
Wow, and I'm sure that was really very beneficial for all
Yeah,
those that were injured.
it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
getting treated
instantly, triage, yeah.
Yes,
Yep,
that's
absolutely.
huge.
So they even brought in a helicopter, but they didn't need it to get anybody out. And so sad, yet in the end, I feel a happy ending that everybody, to include the driver, who, again, they don't report it because it's private information, but probably a heart attack or a stroke, something like that, something that caused him not to be able to drive and flipped the bus. But in the end, he is good as well. All right, move on. Oh, Carnival celebrates a milestone.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Do tell.
30 years of cruising out of the Port of Tampa.
Nice.
So congratulations, Carnival, for 30 years being in Tampa Bay.
And congratulations, Tampa.
And congratulations, Tampa. Yeah, they made a big donation celebrating. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Okay, guys, we're going to want your input on this one. This is a big kerfuffle going on. Oh, my good Lord. Okay, so in what started off as a small post on John Heald's blog about, well, of all things, tablecloths. So
Here we go again.
we've talked about this briefly, not in depth, but you know how we've noticed there are no longer tablecloths in the main dining rooms, main dining hall, MDR, right? Restaurant, they want you to call it now. They've stopped putting tablecloths on there. And so Passengers recently got on there and was pretty upset that there were no longer tablecloths on the tables in the main dining room on Carnival ships. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that not having a tablecloth cheapens the experience, or it doesn't matter? What do you feel? Leave it in the chat below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the matter. I know Lisa and I, believe it or not, we normally don't talk about the news until we're doing the news, but we talked about this earlier because, in the end, I agree with the original comment. I think it does cheapen the cruise, right? There's this always been an elegance in cruising.
There has been, and you lose a little bit of that when there's no tablecloth. I don't know what it is about the tablecloth on there, but I feel like if you walk into a dining room and it's all dressed up and you've got your full complement of your utensils and your tablecloth on there, you're less likely to come in wearing your shorts and your flip-flops. You're more likely to dress up.
Yeah.
And
or how about those who actually dress up, right? It's formal night or elegant night, and they're in there with their tuxes and their gowns.
Yes,
I mean, it's a formal dining room.
Yeah, it does add to the experience. I really do think that it does. Now, in the end, does it bother me that there's no tablecloths? No, not really, but I do feel that it definitely adds to the experience.
I agree 100%. I mean, it doesn't affect us.
No.
We're one of those, we've told you before, we're Switzerland. We're on the fence. We could go either way with the subject. But I do agree with the original poster. It does cheapen the experience.
Yeah, I think it does.
And I think there's a lot of things that have been going on in the cruise industry that have cheapened the experience. which we're going to continue to get. But some of the stuff that we got into the conversation, John Heald's explanation is they're trying to be more environmentally conscious.
Conscious.
Yeah, that. Now, what I want to know is, how does not having tablecloths make them more environmentally conscious? Well, think about it, right? For a ship to have clean water, they suck up the ocean water, they process it through their systems, and they use that for cleaning things. All your towels, all your napkins, all your sheets, even the clothes that you may give them to wash. Now, of course, tablecloths would go in there as well. Now, when they're done washing all these things, that water is then treated again and then put back into the ocean. In fact, it's cleaned so well, technically you could drink it. Of course, they don't. It goes back into the ocean. So, to me, the only thing not having a tablecloth on the table does is it saves them money. 2 ways. Means they don't have to use the soap. And 2, they don't have to have extra people to process the extra laundry. So to me, they're just saving money.
I can't argue with that. I really can't. I mean, I spent a lot of time looking and researching and trying to find out, the different detergents. And first and foremost, I couldn't find out what kind of detergent they use. But I know that the cruise lines, they are under strict guidelines. They have to use, the non-phosphorus or phosphorus-free detergents. And I was trying to find any kind of data on that says, how does that really affect the environment? Are you having fun over there?
It's not behaving again. Sorry. I was trying to put the camera on you, and it just,
I'm over here talking and giving my little dissertation, and I see you going.
I'm trying to get the camera to come your way. Stinking cameras. I swear they're going to be the death of me. Oh, go on, talk. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm totally, it's gone.
See, it's not just... Go over there. There she is. It's a live show, guys. Welcome to Tall Man Cruise Adventures, where anything can happen and absolutely will. Ah, never a dull moment.
Maybe we should look at some comments.
Let's look at some comments, because this is already turning into a show.
Again, didn't take long.
Nope. Oh, hello, Tuesday. How are you? Welcome to the show. Mark, welcome, Mark. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah. Wash your hands.
Yes, please.
Oh, my God. How many times we got to say it? Antonio's like, people might wash their hands, but I don't know if they wash them after they get their food. We talked about this on a previous show months ago. And I think it was actually Macrina that actually brought it up when she goes and gets her food, puts her food on the table, and then washes her hands again. And
I've only seen one person do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only seen one person do that.
What's nice is all the new ships physically have sinks in the dining room, in the buffet.
Yes, on each end, each entrance, yes.
On the older ships, you'd have to try to go find a bathroom somewhere, which some of the older ships, it's not easy to find. But on the new ships, there's sinks right there. And so they make you wash your hands going in. And to your point, now, if everybody washed their hands before they touched the tongs or the spoons, it would not be necessary to wash your hands again, because everybody did wash their hands. The issue is not everybody washes their hands.
Exactly.
So it's almost like go get your food, then maybe you should wash your hands. You can go get your food, but you can't have the yummy till you washy. I don't know. So, yeah. Mimi Radar says, I take a little hand sanitizer packs and clean the table we sit at. I also sanitize airplane when you're flying. No, that's good course of action.
Yeah, absolutely.
Macrina says, how are you? I previewed the plank last week.
I saw pictures. I love it.
She's like, I saw that. Very impressive. My teachers say I'm a slow learner, so they have to show me how to do it again. It's pretty simple. We'll take care of that. I'm just going to push. You're going to learn real fast.
You're not going to get up there, not high enough to push. Who are you kidding?
There's no slow learner. There you go. Fly. Beth says, hope the people who had to stay in Alaska have a passport. Yeah. Well.
I was thinking about that as well. We talk about that frequently, that
Well,
even though it's not required if you're leaving from one port and returning to the same port, it is important because things like that happen.
It does. But think about it. I mean, if the passengers that were injured are all U.S. citizens, you're in Alaska. It's U.S. territory. You can get on a plane and fly back to the U.S.
Okay, point taken.
I mean, this might be the one place that you can exclude that rule. However, let's say you weren't a U.S. passenger. Then obviously, yes, you're going to need your passport. So, because of privacy rights, they didn't, tell where everybody was from. In fact, they haven't even figured out what ship everybody was from. At least that's the way the article read. They were unclear how many different ships or just one ship that all the passengers came from. So, in the end, we're just glad that the outcome was that everybody is safe, and that's the main thing here.
Exactly.
The Down Under Cruisers. Good day from Down Under. New to the channel. Welcome. You get an applause.
Yay!
We love talking to the future.
How about the Venezia horn?
Oh, yeah. Here you go. Take that up the kazoo. Again, welcome to Tall Man Clan. We appreciate you being here. We really do.
Yes, we do.
Yes. Welcome. We'll get there one day. Maybe you can tour us around.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Patricia says, if I'm that concerned, I would bring my own placemat. Like I do in the office. Danny's like, no tablecloth. What am I going to do to blow my nose?
Oh, Danny, you had to go there.
Of course he did. Bev says, I like the tablecloths, but if it saves time, money, and the environment, it doesn't matter to me. I'm fine with the whole environment thing. If it truly did, I think that's corporate hogwash for saving money. Because the water gets treated anyway.
Let's spin that tail.
Yeah, right? I'm going to throw those words out there. Maybe says, it really doesn't matter to me, but I agree it probably changes the experience. Yeah, without a doubt. And I agree with Lisa. I think if it's a more elegant experience, people are less likely to show up in their flip-flops and T-shirts. And if they do, stop them at the door. Because your policy is not to allow that. Just saying, it's your policy.
Follow your own rules.
Follow your own rules. Tony's saying to Danny, is this a formal dining room? Make sure your pinkies are up. Hang on. Even though it's not tea. Even though it's not tea.
I don't think it matters what the beverage is.
I don't think so. Lane says, I agree with Bev. Carnival hasn't, Macrina says, Carnival hasn't had tablecloths, but for a few years. I like them, but think of the wash savings with all their ships. 2 or 3 meals a day, 2 dining times, plus the MDR, or 2 MDRs, plus all their ships. I agree with the savings. The reality is, we're all now paying more.
True.
So they're making more money, because we're paying more money, but we don't get the same experience. And I think there's another social media person who chimed in, who's going to create some videos on the cheapening of the cruise experience. And I believe I agree with her 100%. I mean, we're paying more money for the vacations, yet there's more nickel and diming, and the things that we used to get are not there. And to this point with the tablecloths, it's a small thing, but it just cheapens the experience a little bit. And to the same thing, all you guys, we don't care one way or the other. We have a great time. Tablecloth, no tablecloth. Danny, I'm going to find you and blow my nose on your shirt. It's okay. Don't worry about it. But it just, there's been this shift in change post-COVID, and not all of them are what I would say passenger friendly or for the passenger benefit. Anyway, I don't know. I just think that's one of the things. Anyway.
Danny, the whole blowing your nose thing, that just reminded me one time I was... Sorry for the total bypass.
Do we need a close-up?
Maybe. I don't know. No, but I was listening to this lady and handling this, toddler that was, very rambunctious. Don't do this, don't do that. Do this, don't do that. And all of a sudden I hear, do not wipe your nose in my hair. Sorry, it just reminded me of that.
Oh, Lord. Well, I don't have any hair, so Danny, you can't do that to me. They are saving money, but I'm sure they will pass those savings down through the fares. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're all going to have lesser cruise fares because there's no tablecloths. Yep. Or there was something else. What was it? The chocolates on the pillows that we now all have guys burgers because they don't put chocolates on pillows.
Yeah, that was the other one.
I love you, bro. I'm meaning John. I mean, really, I do, but that's more corporate hubbub. I'm so sorry. Did you say ship show? Not that other word? No, I said show. I occasionally will drop a 4-letter word, but I have a just in case. and the emoji to prove it. This is our mascot. This is Mr. McStinky. I think everybody's named him. And so Mr. McStinky's always with us.
The unofficial official pile.
Just like we have the unofficial official theme song.
We do.
Which we'll play for you all in just a little bit. Martina says, yes, I wash my hands after I get the buffet items and also before I touch my utensils. There you go. Robert, good answer. Just push. Lisa and I, you can do the videoing. Push. Fly, little birdie, fly. Danny says, it's 1950 and Robert said, mad cow. I got the mad cow. I know, I'm sorry.
He's had mad cow since 1950.
Yeah, jeez. Nurse Sarah says, I like the tablecloth, not only because it adds to the experience, but it also the cleanliness factor. After each meal, the tablecloths are replaced. We don't know how well the tables are being cleaned off. That is a very good point.
That is a
very good point, Estera. I can't disagree. Hello, everyone. Carnival celebration September 29th. It's coming up, Mr. Cruise Fever. I mean, like in days. And the good news is you'll probably be missing all the storms, which is good.
Yes. Ooh, even better. Yes. Uh-oh. What does it say?
Antonio says some people call that hair mousse. Go watch Something About Mary.
We were just talking about that show the other day.
How'd you get the berries over the twig? Oh, this isn't going to get any better tonight, is it? Let's get back to some news.
Yeah,
Oh, my good Lord. Oh, okay. Speaking of cruises coming up in Mr. Cruise Fever, I think you're going to miss this, but there may be a longshoreman strike that is going to affect a lot of things, shipping, but cruising being one of them.
Really?
Up and down the East Coast through Florida and all the way through Texas. They want more money. And they're not agreeing on terms. And I read through the whole article, and basically they want a $10 an hour raise. For those who don't know, the longshoremen are not the people who take your luggage. Those are porters. Those are different. The longshoremen are the people who actually put the stuff on the ship. So they're the ones with the forklifts and the different things. It's no different for the cargo vessels that come in. They're the ones operating the cranes that take the cargo off the ships and put it onto the ground. Those are the longshoremen, and they have a union. And they have been unhappy with the wages they're getting. The average longshoreman across this country makes about $60,000 a year. Some make more, some make a little less, but the average is about $60,000 a year, and $16-ish an hour. They now want a $10 an hour raise because the cruise lines are so profitable. They're hitting the cruise lines up for more money.
I want a $10 an hour raise.
I want a $10 an hour raise too. And they are prepared to strike if they don't get their raise. So, how's that going to affect cruising? I do not know. This is set to take place October 1st. So if you want a cruise ship that leaves October 1st, and there's a long delay of the ship leaving, you now know why. It's because the people who put the food included, right? So when a semi-truck, shows up with 26 pallets of food, it's the longshoremen and their forklifts that take the food out of the truck and then put it on the ship. They may be striking. So
wow.
Just be aware of that, guys. I hope they come to a resolution. I feel everybody deserves their fair share, without a doubt.
Yes.
But I do just $10 an hour. That's just ridiculous.
That's a huge raise.
That is a ridiculous raise. And I read through some of the comments of the president of their union, and I'm like, yeah, that's just that's just wrong. Give them an appropriate raise without a doubt, but $10 an hour, I think that's ridiculous. So
yeah, that's
yeah. Anyway, moving on. Oh, the Disney treasure hit a milestone. it is out for sea trials.
Nice.
It has made its way out of the shipyard there in Papenburg and is on its sea trials. It may have actually completed already because this started on the 19th. But actually, usually sea trials are about 5 days. So they should be ending tomorrow. And it's the sea trials that give your ship your certification.
It is.
It's a huge milestone. So congratulations, Disney, for your sea trials on the Disney Treasure.
Nice job. Woohoo.
So let's just talk briefly about a couple of interesting things that are not allowed on cruise ships.
All right.
So recently, an up-and-coming cruise influencer, he's on YouTube, was going on a lengthy cruise and decided to bring his Starlink Mini with him on the ship, just because he was unsure he would have good Wi-Fi throughout. It was a round trip to Hawaii and back.
Okay.
So there's like 9 days at sea out in the middle of the Pacific. And so he made a video about it. So the first video was him doing the tests. And he tested Carnival's Wi-Fi, and it was at 4 megabits. So then he goes, gets his mini Starlink dish, brings it up, sits it in the same exact place he tested Carnival's, and he got 128 megabits.
Wow.
Anyway, of course, he put that up. And so the next day, they come knocking on his door. Y'all don't think, the cruise lines watch this stuff. They do. They have people that are watching video, probably us right now. And so they came and asked him to go down to customer service, which he did, and they asked for it, and he did. He willingly gave it over. But for those who think they may bring their Starlink Mini with them now, because they have a Mini, it's small, you can travel with it. No, you cannot. And Carnival, by the way, subsequently, within that 24-hour period, has clarified their ban lists. And Starlink Mini is sort of mentioned. You know what else you can't bring on a cruise ship?
What else can't you bring on a cruise ship?
Anymore, I should say. You can't bring your cattle prod with you.
Is that actually on the list?
It's literally written on the list.
Well, I suppose you have to be specific these days.
They have gotten
No firearms, no cattle prods.
no cattle prods. I'll read you a few of the things that are on the list, which I found incredibly interesting. And obviously it makes the list because people have brought them.
Right. That's what's scary.
Who brings a cattle prod with them on a ship?
Who needs a cattle prod on a ship?
I don't know. Let's see if I can find that list again, because I can't find it real quick here. I should have kept it up. Oh, yeah, figures. Nope, I can't find it quickly, and I don't want to hold the show up because I can't find the list. But there was like sabers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, all kinds of weird. It's just anyway. You can't bring a cattle prod on Carnival ships anymore.
Sorry, guys.
Speaking of which, and to me this is more news than the cattle prod or the Starlink Mini, but Royal Caribbean has now banned power cubes. We've talked about this many times. We have showed them to you.
Yeah.
We bring them on all our ships. A power cube is a way to get more outlets. It is not a surge protector. It's not going to hurt their system, but you plug it into one outlet and it gives you like 3 outlets.
Yes.
Royal Caribbean has now banned them on their cruise ships. So please note, you cannot even bring a power cube with you. They're known by a couple different names, but essentially what they're talking about is if you plug that thing into one circuit, one socket, and it gives you 3 more, that is now banned on all Royal Caribbean ships.
Wow.
So for those who need more power, that creates some problems. Wonder how they're going to think about our portable battery.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't seen that on a ban list
I
yet.
haven't seen that yet. I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
Before you know it, they're going to be banning clothes. I hope not. I hope not. Oh, there's some more bannings coming up. We'll talk about that in a minute. Scarlet Lady, guys. Virgin's very first ship, what came out in 2021, is actually going into its very first big dry dock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be in there in a couple weeks, and they're going to be doing a lot of refurbishments on it. A lot more than I would expect on a ship that's literally only a few years old. They're going to be adding, I believe, like 78 new suites.
Oh, wow.
They're converting some of the regular kind of cabins into suites. all the Virgin cabin names are different names, and so their balconies are not just called balconies. I can't remember what they call them. I could read this all to you, but I can't remember what they call them. But they're converting them into the Rockstar and Mega Rockstar quarters.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
They've got their serious. I mean, we've profiled all their cabins. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, go to our main channel. There's a whole playlist for Virgin, and you can see all the different names of their cabins and what they look like, because we videoed, 14 or 15 of different of their cabins. But they've got the Mega Rockstar. They've got I can't remember them all now. Anyway, but they're adding some new restaurants and some different things as well.
They definitely have creative names.
Yeah, Peekaboo Showers and
Right, Peekaboo.
Peekaboo, yep.
Peekaboo Showers.
Oh, the Seriously Sweet.
Yes.
The Seriously Sweet. Yeah, they got unique names, but
They
yeah.
do.
Anyway, but Scarlet Lady going in to get a little refurb. Speaking of no clothes, so yeah, I don't know. So, MSC has a luxury cruise line, right, called Explora, and they recently just launched their second ship. They've got like 3, 4, or 5 more coming, but this is their second ship. And during the christening ceremony, somebody was christening their balcony.
Oh no.
and it was caught in video. And so there was a couple up in their balcony, little bow chicka bow wow, and no one knows if it was on purpose or they thought the little glass panel was not see-through, but
it's see-through.
They were out there,
see-through, guys. It's see-through.
Butt naked, a little bow chicka bow wow, and give that ship a little extra publicity. Yeah. Send it off in big fashion.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Anyway, thought you might find that interesting. Speaking of interesting and gouging, Princess Cruise Lines has quietly raised the cost of their water. Right, like most of the cruise lines, if you want to pre-order a case of water, you can do that. And it used to be fairly reasonable on all the cruise lines. Of course, prices have gone up. We've been talking about nickel and diming. By the way, a case of water for a cruise ship is 12 bottles. Out here in the regular world, it's 24 to 35, but on a cruise ship, it is 12 bottles. So on September 17th, a 12-pack of water was $7. On September 18th, with no announcement, they're now $24.
Wow.
Went up
That's quite an increase.
over 300 and something percent.
They're trying to pay for that $10 an hour raise for the
For the longshoremen. Yeah, no. Yeah, so
wow.
water has gone up in Princess. And didn't they just do this with the corkage fee? When you bring in the bottles of wine on Princess?
Somebody did.
It went from like
Princess
$25 to $29.
$29, yeah.
I mean, that was $4, but I mean 300 and something percent raise.
Yeah, that's a lot. And it's water.
Yep, it's $2 a bottle. Yeah.
Wow.
Carry your water on, guys. Yep. All right, we're getting close to the end, but we still got stuff coming, guys. There's so much news this week.
Should we hit some more comments, or should we stick with the news?
Yeah, we can read a few more comments, and then we'll get down.
It's been a while.
Okay. Hair Moose, there we go. Danny Mac says, you said Alaska was a U.S. territory. State. I said territory? State.
I didn't catch it.
Yeah,
but
Danny,
that doesn't
leave me
surprise
alone.
me. Mad Cal's rubbing off on me.
Yeah, it's Tony says, there's a rumor it'll be a state soon. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Just leave me alone. It's 110 outside here in Phoenix. By the way, if it's a little bit louder in here tonight, we apologize. We're not kidding. It's back into the triple digits. It was like 110 outside today or something. It's brutal, and it's
hot.
Yeah, it's pretty warm in here right now, so I'm surprised we're not sweating.
Yeah, you got to remember we're in a tin box.
Yeah.
We're in a tin can, and it's hot in here.
It's hot. It's getting hot in here. So, no, I won't go on with that. Makina says, I noticed last week that all the crew that set the Horizons MDR tables had plastic gloves on. I had never seen that on a ship until last week.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that either. Of
They
course,
didn't
I'm
touch a
not-
dish, glass, or utensil. Great.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, let's be safe, guys.
Yeah.
You know? Down Under Cruiser says, can't say I blame them wanting a pay raise. Have you ever tried to carry my wife's bags? Just saying. They're driving.
No, but we've tried to carry ours.
Yeah. But the longshoremen are driving forklifts. They're not physically lifting anything. The forklift does it.
Oh my gosh.
The porters are a different union. The people that physically take your bags. But I do get your point. And look, inflation is up here in the United States. I'm sure it is around the globe. I get things cost more. Without a doubt, they absolutely deserve a raise. But that's like a 65% raise. Over their average income.
That's a little bit much to ask.
Yeah. That is a lot. Right? So, I mean, start high, start low, and meet somewhere in the middle. Okay, I mean, that's usually how it works. But, I mean, $10.
I will say, when you first said longshoremen, I immediately thought of the porters.
Yes,
and then
of course.
Then it sunk in. I was like, okay, wait a minute. Okay.
Well, and I mentioned that. It's not the porters.
Yeah.
It's not the people that take your luggage.
Yes.
It's the people that take the carts with your luggage in the carts and then put that on the ship.
Yeah.
If it moves on and off a ship, that is a longshoreman. Okay? So, anyway, yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't care what job you have. $10 an hour raise is a lot to ask.
It's a lot.
It's
a lot. Unless you're making $100 an hour, and then $10 appropriate. It's 10% raise.
10%, yeah.
10%, right? So, anyway, Mr. Cruise Fever says, sorry. Without tablecloths, feel like I'm eating out at Outback Steakhouse, Applebee's, or other national restaurants. And it's funny, I was going to use that as a reference. You know, we used to have that feeling, you go into the dining room, that you're at a Seasons 52, or Fletcher's, or a really nice high-end restaurant. And having that experience, with the waiters, and they're all dressed nice and all this stuff. Now, like you said, it's Crapplebee's.
Yeah, you have to ask for bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has
changed.
been cheapened. Yeah, I think it has.
Nurse Tara says the longshoremen also don't want their jobs to be automated. That is correct, and I didn't bring that up in the article because for me it was more about the raise. But look, it happened in the auto industry as well with automation. Automation's coming, guys. It's just that simple. And it sucks for the people that do those jobs, but there's going to be some automation at some point. And I'm surprised they haven't put a conveyor belt out there yet to get the luggage on the ship.
That is true.
It'll be hard with the food, but for the bags, right? Just like at the
airport
airports.
carousels, yeah.
Right? I mean, so, but yeah, it is about automation as well. Nurse Tara's like, I want a $10 raise too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 62%. Exactly, Tony. It's a lot, right? Nurse Tara says, I'm going on a cruise on October 13th and also on the 27th. I hope they get it resolved sooner than later.
True, because October, yeah.
We do as well, because, I mean, obviously, I don't want this just to be about cruising. This affects everything. I mean, almost unfortunately, all the goods we consume here in this country come out of a container that comes off of a ship. And it's the longshoremen who make those moves. And so if they're going on strike, there's going to be a lot of goods that aren't getting moved, which means when you go to your grocery store, you may end up even having to pay more money because supply is now limited, right? So this affects a lot more than just getting your luggage and food on a ship.
Yeah, it does.
And they know that, which is why they're going for the throat, $10 an hour. And I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, Macrina says a $10 raise equals about $21,000 a year raise. Just imagine when they put in overtime. It's huge for an average job. I know. I'll tell you all this quick story. I was up in New York in the Apollo doing some work, and it was a very stressful day to say the least. And the unions there in New York were there working, doing their job. And I'm just standing out there observing because you can't touch anything. You're not allowed to touch anything. They have to touch it all, right? So I'm sitting there listening to them. And these guys that are pushing cases are talking about their house in the Hamptons, right? Here's a guy that pushes a case for a living, who gets paid so much money that he has a place to live in the city and a house in the Hamptons. We're pushing cases. Not that I'm putting that job down. I mean, there's a job for everybody. But to me, this gets into that same category. A $10 raise because you drive a forklift and lift the forklift puts the... that is excessive.
You are forklift certified.
I am
my friend.
forklift. Man, I'm going to go get a job as a longshoreman.
I'm telling
Make
you.
$100,000 a year.
Right?
Driving a forklift.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. And it just kind of hit home for me a little bit. Antonio says, no kettle prod is good for you, Robert, and your mad cow. How do you think I got the mad cow? From the stinking cattle prod. Jeez. Patricia's like, no cattle prod? Fine. I'm not going on the group cruise anymore. Oh, that's for those cowboys selling from Galveston. Yeehaw! We're going to come brand ya. Nurse Tara says, I wish he would have kept his Starlink Mini to himself. Look, at some point, somebody was going to see it. Now, of course, he broadcast it everywhere, and everybody saw it, but you go up on a ship and one of the crew is going to see that and it's going to get reported. So it just was probably faster than he was hoping.
And the funny thing is we've joked about doing
joked
that because we like to do our live shows out in public areas, and so far Carnival is the only place that we've been able to do that. We haven't been able to do that on Princess, on Virgin, on MSC.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it. Hey, I wonder if we could get away with bringing our Starlink. So it's funny to me that somebody actually did do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was another influencer, right? And so we thought, and now they have the Mini, which it packs up much smaller. It's in a little backpack. I mean, it's nice to be able to take with us, and have great speeds and be able to broadcast. But nope, not on Carnival.
Not on Carnival.
Nope, and I'm sure every other cruise ship is like that
I'm
too.
sure you're right.
They want to get their $21.95 a day for you to have compressed speed. So. Anyway, the Down Under cruisers say apparently Royal Caribbean have had power issues on their new ships.
I've heard many times about them losing power, but I have never heard it being associated with having a power cube.
Well, I mean, think about this, right? So you have an outlet that has 2 plugs in it. There's a certain amount of power going to those 2 plugs. You now put a power cube in there that can have 4 plugs instead of 2 plugs. So you're now pulling 4 times the amount of juice through that plug.
It makes sense.
I'm not an electrician. I might want to ask an electrician if that has an issue. But I do know that I have felt devices get hot before. And that, I believe, is their stance on it, that these things can get hot, melt, and cause a fire. Not about having power issues or the lack of power, but that they can catch fire. So it's a safety issue, and that's their claim. Okay? Moving on. Tony C. Antonio, we call him Antonio. Antonio is doing some exploring on the Explorer. Okay, awesome.
Nice.
Macrina says those security cameras are everywhere. Oh, he's talking about doing some exploring on the Explorer. The couple with Bound Cabal.
Yes, gotcha.
The security cameras are everywhere and can see around corners. They didn't have to see around corners. These people were in plain sight during the christening of the ship. Just, woo, hello.
And there's all kinds of helicopters flying around and the drones and everything, getting the footage for the cruise line, and that's a good time to do that.
Bev says $2.79 at the store where I work. Are you talking about a case of water?
Water, I believe.
Yeah. $24 on Princess now.
Wow.
Danny says, still worth not lugging it on board yourself. Honestly, if I was a big water drinker, I would agree. Look, I'm on vacation. I don't want to lug that on board. I don't, because I got enough stuff that I'm lugging on board. However, I would suck it up for a day and just get a case of water in the first port that I was in, if it was that important to me.
I would agree, yeah.
Because then I've already got all my stuff on the ship.
Everything's already on the ship. When you get off the ship, just bring a case back in.
Yeah.
Then just, you just have to deal with, 1 or 2 bottles or whatever you need until you have your first port day.
I'm not going to buy another carry-on just for the case of water.
No.
Oh, good Lord. But I do agree with you, Danny. Yeah. Amy says the longshoreman union rep sounded like a mafia boss in his rants. So yeah, so you obviously read it too. He really did. I was reading some of this going, yeah, man, I don't think so. That's why I didn't really talk too much about that. Like what he was saying, just it's ridiculous. It really is. Danny says, when you're done loading the ship, just drive the forklift on the ship and hide. Right? Nurse Tara says, yes, it did memory radar. He's going to shut everything down. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so let's get back to the last little bit of news.
All right.
Norwegian Cruise Lines changes they're having some problems.
They are?
So am I. The NCL Spirit is in November. They're going on a 14-day cruise, starting in Japan and ending in the Philippines.
Ooh.
Yeah, sounds great, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, starting in China, right? Sorry, starting in China. Anyway, they're not going to make it to the Philippines. So they're now going to end the cruise in Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
And so there's a lot of people that I'm sure are going to be hurt by this change because, you fly to China, you're going to end in the Philippines, you've bought airfare.
Yes.
And maybe hotels and things.
Yes.
And so, yeah. So they have sent out an email to everybody. It's supposed to leave. Oh, I'm sorry. It is Tokyo. Good Lord. It leaves from Tokyo on the 14th on a 14-night cruise, and this starts in late November. Okay, it was supposed to go to Shimizu, Mount Fuji, Shimizu, Osaka, Wakayama, Naha, and then Keelung in Taipei, and Kaohsiung in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and then a couple different places in the Philippines. The first 5 ports remain the same as scheduled. The last 5 are all discombobulated, but in the end, they're no longer ending in Manila, where they were supposed to end. They're ending in Hong Kong.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah.
That's going to cause some trouble for some people.
That's going to cause them. So, if you're on the NCL Spirit doing that cruise and you didn't see it yet, call your travel agent, call the cruise lines. You got to have to change some of your travel plans. For those who booked their airfare and hotels through NCL, all of those have automatically been dealt with. But if you've booked outside of that, you're going to have to do that on your own. And they're issuing some onboard credit for the kerfuffle and stuff, but it is only to be able to use on board. It's not refundable. It's just onboard credit. So anyway, moving on. Where are we here? So we were talking about Disney's ship pulling out of Papenburg, right? The shipyard there is the Meyer Werft shipyard. We've talked about them many times. But recently we brought you news that they're having some financial troubles. And they were potentially going to have to close the shipyard, which has been open for several hundred years.
Yeah, that's why we were so surprised that they were having issues, because, yeah.
Well, part of it is the ships have gotten so big, which I'm going to talk about here in just a second. But the German government has stepped in and bailed them out. And so they have done a good deed here and put up the money. They do have a stake in the company now. 80% of the shares, so it's now sort of owned by the German government. However, it is just for the period of time until profitability is back, and then it'll be turned back over to the Merft family. Okay. Because it's family owned. Yeah. Yeah. So, what little do people know is when a ship is being built, they only get a very small amount of the money up front. 20%. Okay? The rest of the money does not come to the shipyard until they sign the papers when they're handing the ship over.
I did not realize that. I was always thinking it was in increments.
No.
Okay, 20% until
20%.
Wow.
Now, most of these ships that they're building, they're billion-dollar ships now. And there's been it's not been sort of like this, in costs. It's been zoom. And now pretty much every single ship being built this day is $2+ billion. And so
they're huge these days.
The cruise line forks over $400,000 of it now and doesn't have to pay the rest of it until they sign the papers when they get the ship, which in a lot of cases is sometimes between 2 and 3 years later. somewhere around there, 2.5 years.
Well, it takes a while to build those
It,
things.
it does. It's not
Yes,
fast.
No.
And I mean, it's fast compared to what it could be,
Yeah.
but it's still it's
Well,
not a week.
But the ships these days are twice as big as what they used to be, so it's going to be twice as long.
Well, no, not really. Not twice as long, but it's still long.
Yeah.
It's a couple of years, right? From the time they first cut the first steel, until the time you're handing it over, it's a couple of years. And so the shipyard has to float that money, right? And they build multiple ships at a time, so it's not just one ship, it's multiple. So they're always in the middle of building several multi-billion-dollar ships. And it's caused a lot of heartache. And so, but thank you for the German government to come in and save this very historic shipyard that has been around for a long time. Norwegian Prima in the news. It's losing a bar. Anybody been on the Prima? Anybody been up there by the go-karts and gone to the Speedway bar? Well, if you have, the Speedway bar is going away. They're getting rid of the Speedway bar and turning it into a teen club for the 13 to 17-year-olds.
Oh, wow. Yep. Okay.
Which, interestingly enough, when I was reading the article and seeing where the bar is situated, it's basically situated by the go-kart tracks, the putt-putt, like a lot of family kids things. So that seems to be a good place for a teen bar. Or a teen club.
I would tend to agree, yeah.
Or a teen meetup place.
If you're going to have a teen club in there, that would probably be a really good place for it.
As opposed to a bar. But anyway, yep. So, the Prima is getting a new teen club. It's going to replace the Speedway bar. Speaking of NCLers, keeping with them, they have announced or revealed the name of their new ship. It is called the Luna. This is going to be the sister ship of the Aqua that comes out later, or late this year. And so this is the sister ship of the Aqua. It got its name because of its relationship with the sun to the tides of the water. Or the moon and the tides of the water.
Okay.
So that's where they came up with the Luna.
Nice.
So you got the NCL Aqua and the NCL Luna, which are sisters. So there you go, the Luna. So in our last live show, we talked about a couple of influencers who have very, very large audiences who were on a cruise, a young family with a couple of young children who left their children in their cabin while they went to dinner and publicly said so. And within a couple hours, there was a frenzy over their posts of what they had just done. And so they took the post down. Well, they have recently come out and made some clarifications to what they have done. Now, of course, in the original story, they had a baby monitor there, which they could see on their phone. Like, now I don't know about you, but, if you're in your house and you're in the living room or the dining room and, in your home and you got a baby monitor and there's something wrong, you're about 27 steps to the child's bedroom.
Yes.
Whereas if you're on a cruise ship and you're trying to watch the baby monitor, if it's even working because it's a Wi-Fi related thing, and we all know how ship Wi-Fi is, better than it used to be, not perfect, and you're in the dining room, you're about 6,000 steps away if there's a problem. Anyway, they have come back to say that they actually had family with them on the cruise, and there was a family member babysitting the kids. Even though that they had their baby monitor there was somebody in the room with them.
Okay, that's not what I heard the first time around.
Well, they made a big kerfuffle of not being able to get in to have the cruise lines do the babysitting and all the different things. Didn't mention anything anywhere at any time about, so we had to have family with us do it. At all. They actually talked about leaving the kids in the room. Not as a parent. You guys out there, as a parent, would you ever leave your children in a room, a cabin, by themselves, 1 year and 1.5 years old, or 1 and 2? I feel the answer is no. Now, if you were about to put a video out for people, and you were about to leave your kids there, but they were being babysat by a family member, don't you think you would have said that? Hey, we got somebody to babysit the kids tonight so we could go out to dinner by ourselves. But that wasn't said.
That would have been, woohoo, we're going out to dinner. We got a babysitter.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's not what was said. So I feel their apology is more damage control because their channels took a big hit because of their actions.
Yeah, I think it probably did as well. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not there. But none of that. I'm just a common sense thinking guy. If we've been bringing our kids with us to dinner every night, broadcasting it, videoing it, sharing it with the world, and then we got a night out on, hey, we got somebody to babysit the kids. We got a night out on the town. But that wasn't the message. The message was we left the kids in the cabin so we could have dinner by ourselves.
And here's our baby monitor.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, you wouldn't. I wouldn't have a baby monitor if I had a babysitter, especially family member babysitter.
Yeah. So
that's just me.
I think they're backing up and trying to punt and trying to do a lot of damage control. What do you all think? Damage control, or did they just not do a good job at putting up the correct information the first time? I don't know. Let me know what you think. All right. So, Carnival announces new itinerary options from U.S. ports for 26 and 27.
All right.
The biggest one for me is they're moving a ship to San Francisco.
San Francisco.
So San Francisco is now going to have the Luminosa as a home port in 2026 from April until September. It's going to be doing 10-day round trip to Alaska.
Nice.
Out of San Francisco.
Nice.
I like that.
Me too.
There's several other things in there, but most of them are about, because their new private island coming up, there's changes to itineraries for that. But again, the biggest news for me is that they are moving into San Francisco for the very first time.
Yeah, that's awesome. That gives everybody over in California some closer options.
That's right, for Northern California, yep. Or even Northern Oregon and Washington, yep.
Yeah.
So you don't have to go down to L.A. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that. So, last but not least, if you didn't know, you can get banned. So, we've talked pretty much every show about the Villa V Residence cruise ship that has been delayed after delay after delay after delay. It was supposed to launch on this 3.5-year cruise,
circumnavigation,
multiple around the world in May of this year. And there has just been a series of major delays for this launch. And, of course, this is a residency. You actually own your cabin. And I think it's like 15 years? 15 years? I went on their website a while ago to look at this, but I think it's 15 years.
I was thinking it was 30, but I may be wrong on that. I may be wrong.
You own it for a long time. So
yeah,
even after the 3.5 years are up, it's still your cabin. You're still on the ship.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, so been a ton of delays. And they haven't been always public with us about the delays. But from what I understand, they've been very informative to the people who own their cabins.
That's what I've always understood, yes.
Now, there's been a series of different things over the past many, many months, so I'm not going to go over that again. We've gone over it in most of our shows. However, recently, it was like the fourth time they were ready to go. People have then now regathered again to get ready to get on the ship, and there's now another delay.
Oh, no.
Anyway, there's been a passenger privately, not publicly, on a private WhatsApp chat group with other passengers voicing her discontent. Right, look, these people have sold their homes, and this particular person has sold their business. I mean, they're moving into a ship. They've gotten rid of everything. And they were supposed to be there in May, June, July, August. Let's just call September because September's done.
September.
5 months. And there still's not a launch date.
Yeah, that is tough. When you have given up everything that you have, what do you do for 5 months while you wait? And you're still uncertain. That's tough.
Yep. So she's been, again, voicing her opinions privately. Not publicly like we're talking with you folks right here now, but privately. And this was the response she got. We have received over a dozen formal complaints from residents regarding your continuous complaints and negativity. This behavior has significantly impacted the morale and well-being of other passengers. Given the overwhelming feedback, we have canceled your contract permanently to uphold the well-being and satisfaction of our community.
Wow.
So she has been kicked and off her ship and banned.
Wow.
For complaining privately. So that's my question for you guys. If you were part of the Villa V family and bought a cabin on this ship that was supposed to leave 5 months ago, do you feel it's right if you were complaining privately again, not publicly, privately, that you get yourself kicked off the ship. Personally, I don't think it's fair at all whatsoever.
That is a loaded question because they have been so private with the information and sharing that with the owners and not the rest of the world.
Right.
So we don't know the inside story. We don't know what information's been given them. We don't know
Nope.
anything about that. But I can tell you, 5 months, I would have been banned too.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
I would have been complaining.
Yeah, I think so. And I think, look, they've been taking care of most of them, meaning they have been putting them up in hotels. They've been sending them on excursions.
They have.
They've been doing a really good job of that.
They really have.
And we've talked about that a lot. We poke fun at them a little bit, but we've been, congratulations. I mean, they're making these.
It's a huge undertaking.
A huge undertaking.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. And they've been doing the right thing. And then just recently, they had to pull the rug out about covering hotel costs. Right? They've asked the owners to cover their own hotels now, but they're going to give them a $200 onboard credit once the ship does sail. Anyway, the point being is if you're talking to a like-minded group of people privately,
yes,
and you get thrown off the ship because of that, I just think that's caca.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
After 5 months, there's gonna be a little bit of complaining. There has to be.
I'm complaining because I still have to talk about the damn ship. Guys, please finish fixing it and get it in the ocean. I want to take you off my list.
Every week, Villaby.
Still not sailing. Let's see what everybody else has to say about it. So let's back up here in some of the comments.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of comments. Still not where they're going. Longshore interruptions. Here we go. Yes. Antonio says, I don't think you could bring water on the ship. Yeah, you can. Yep. Water, soda, a 12-pack of soda, or 2 bottles of wine.
Check with your cruise line because there are some guidelines. Some cruise lines, it has to be canned water, not plastic bottles.
Or the tall bottles of water.
Or the tall bottles. So check with your individual cruise line because, yes, there are some restrictions on it. But as far as water itself goes, yeah, you can bring it on.
But the 12-pack they give are the big bottles, not the small ones. Because they're trying to the plastic waste and stuff. Of course, there's twice the amount of plastic in a big bottle. I don't know anyway.
It's still plastic.
It's just stupid. Danny says, we went on a cruise with our kids and a bunch of their friends, 14 total. We carried a case of pop for each. Never again. Look, it's heavy. Liquid is heavy. I understand. And this is also why the cruise lines, I think, finally open it up that you could pre-purchase it. But now they're just taking it to another level.
We actually saw this family that had like one of those folding collapsible carts. They had their soda
loaded,
tons of soda on there.
Didn't they stop them at security and wouldn't let them bring that cart or something? I seem to remember something with a cart when we were going through security one day.
There was
at one of the
somebody with a folding wagon that I think was getting some issues.
Folded wagon.
But I don't remember a folding cart getting issues. Yeah.
Macrina says, Danny Mac, I wouldn't do that either. Drink the lemonade, iced tea, or their water. Bring some powder Kool-Aid and mix it. Right? There you go.
Yeah, we do the little water enhancer things. He does. So
it's what I have in here. In my little cup. I love grapes, so my little grape water.
Just add a little bit of flavor to it, and it's tiny little bottle, and it makes a bunch.
Yep. Danny says, that was also the same cruise. Our son went to the local winery and had his own wine bottled. Ooh.
Oh, that's
Had your own wine bottle. That sounds fun.
That does sound fun.
Down under cruisers like, hell no. I think that's not true and a cover-up. And they would have been truthful the first time or should have. I agree 100%. Yep, I agree. Sure, and give them a cattle prod to play with. That's just good parenting. No, I would not leave them alone and would have said so at the beginning. Look, you're a parent and you create videos. They've got millions of followers, guys. They're not small. They're big. So They're used to being in front of a camera. They're used to explaining things to the camera. And they're used to people watching their life. As a parent of young children, if you're going to be without them, you're going to say to the camera how it is that you're not with them. Yes, we left them with a babysitter. In fact, it's a family member. In this case, it was a cruise because they made a big stink that they couldn't get them into the kids' area babysitting because it was all booked up. So instead, we decided to leave them in the cabin. It wasn't, we couldn't get them, into the kids' area, so we left them in the cabin with our family.
Yeah, we conned our family member and we bribed our family member. It wasn't that.
No.
Yeah.
And that's not something you would miss as a parent and an influencer with millions of followers.
I think it was just a lapse of judgment that, they're.
And they're now paying the price, and I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Macrina says, no, not at that age. If they were over 12 and it was at 11 p.m. and they were sleeping, I would be okay leaving for 10 minutes or so to get some lemonade, but for no other reason.
Yeah.
Jubilee, going to the Bahamas. Woo! Bev says, right, Macrina, I do that over letting my 12-year-old run the halls by themselves, too. I agree 100%. We told you about when with Alyssa. She wasn't allowed to be by herself either.
No, never.
Nope, never. They're agreeing. I never let my son roam around until he was too old for the kids' camps.
Exactly.
Danny Mac is referring to the Villa V now. He says, lawyer time. Yeah. I'm afraid so.
You might be right.
Tony C. or Antonio says, they were not fair with her, but it's a blessing in disguise. I'm not going to disagree. Hang on. Athena Green says, which I don't think I've seen your name before.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Had several new people with us tonight. Welcome all to the Tall
How about another Venezia horn?
Another Venezia horn?
Yeah.
You've been inaugurated.
That's right.
Welcome. By the way, I can't believe I haven't done this yet. If this is your first time joining our show, do us a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, become part of the Tall Man Clan. It is free to you, costs you absolutely nothing, and it really does help out the channel. And Lisa and I, if you haven't figured it out yet, golly, we need a lot of help.
Tons of help.
I need somebody to come run these buttons so I don't have to do it. Help! Anyway, Alethea, by the way, Alethea Green says, not fair, and I would want my money now. I venture to say they're probably going to refund her.
If they're canceling a contract, I would hope that there's some clause in there that she gets a refund.
Some of their contracts are, by the way, pay as you go. You don't have to give it all up now, so you can pay as you go. I mean, we went to their website and read about it and stuff, and we really thought about this.
We did.
This is something we really want to do, guys, is go on a ship full time. We really have, and so we really looked into this. And it's a very amicable situation with how you could go about doing it. So she may not have coughed up, $250,000. She may be paying the monthly or whatever. But either way, look, I'm sure within their contract, there's, for lack of a better term, because I don't know it, let's just call it a morals clause. And to Antonio's comment, if you've got the negative Nancy always there, this isn't the Icon of the Seas. It's a tiny ship.
It is, and you're going to see these people all the time.
And yeah, you're not going to want to be with someone like that all the time. Just probably not. However, it is still a ship, and there is still plenty of space. But the reality is, moral clause or not, her conversations were private. I mean, it was a private group of owners in there, but again, it was private. It wasn't out. It wasn't even on Facebook where you can see it. It was literally a private chat group.
But here's the thing.
On WhatsApp.
But here's the thing. The letter that she received said, we have had numerous complaints. So it's not just the fact that she's out there complaining. It's the fact that everybody
she's complaining so much, she's pissing people off.
The people have reported her.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So.
And so in that case, I get where Villavia is going with that.
It's again, I'm Switzerland because I'm 50-50. I agree with her. I think it's wrong because it was private.
Two sides of each
But
coin.
I agree with Villa V because I wouldn't want that person on my ship full time either.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they have to be harmonious.
Yes.
And Villa V has been trying their best due to the circumstances, which are completely out of their control, by the way, to try to keep everybody as happy as possible and do as much as possible. I'm sure they would have loved to have been sailing in May.
Oh, without a doubt. and I think, honestly, that they are doing a really good job with having the harmonious things.
As best as possible.
Well, yeah.
Well, they let them on the ship during the day, for Pete's sakes.
No, I'm referring to the camaraderie of, the people. There's lots of groups that are getting together and they're all talking and they're all bonding and if there's one that is just use the knife,
Look, I know there's a lot of people watching because you're our faithful followers.
Yes, and thank you all for watching.
And we know
Thank
a lot
for
of
the
you
thumbs up.
of those people deal with people all the time, just like we do. We're in the public all the time and we're dealing with people, and so it is inevitable and it is impossible to put, I don't know how many, let's say 1,000 people. I forget what that ship can hold, but let's just say 1,000 people. It is impossible that within that group of 1,000 people, there's not going to be 3 people you would rather just push off the ship yourself.
You're right.
Right?
You're right.
So it's never going to be, kumbaya, guys. It's just not going to happen. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Yeah, that is just not going to happen. Right? So
You're right. No, you're right. You're right. I get it.
But we are adults.
Yeah.
Right? So what have the adults done? The adult says, man, this person's been complaining too much. And then those people got together and then complained about the complainer.
You're right. You're right.
And got the complainer kicked off.
By complaining.
By complaining. You're all gone. You're fired. Thank you, Trump.
Is that the zero tolerance thing?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a sticky wicket. It really is. And I absolutely understand both sides. And this is one of those lose-lose situations.
It is.
There is a no win-win here.
Yeah.
Really.
You're right.
I don't think so.
No matter which way you go on that, there's going to be hard feelings, and that's hard to overcome.
Patricia says, but if she complained to all the residents and maybe made the residents board angry, well, they wouldn't want to live with her. And that's what we're talking about. And we get that. We do. 100%.
Totally get it.
Memorator says, should have given her some kind of discussion to please stop before going overboard with the band.
I will totally go with that.
That probably was the best thing to do.
That would have been the best
thing
to do.
We've had all these people complain. You need to stop.
Yeah.
Or this is what's going to have to happen.
I would
based
agree.
upon blah, 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 blah.
I would agree. Not just, okay, you're done.
She need to get a warning first, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. Again, she sold everything in her life to be there.
Yeah. And she's been doing this for 5 months waiting.
She's from Florida. Don't hold that against us.
Yeah.
She's from Florida.
Meanwhile, down in Florida.
Yeah, damn dangling chads.
It always goes back to those dangling
Always
chads.
goes to those dangling chads. What a... Oh, that didn't work.
Thank goodness you caught
Wrong
yourself.
Bev says the interesting thing, though, is the action was in response to others complaining about her complaining.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where we just went with that. Yeah,
Yes. You're in my mind.
Yep. They do not want negativity because they have no idea when they are starting, which means sometimes next year. Gina, you may be right.
You might be.
You may be right because again, they've been fairly public with the owners, with the passengers that are going to be on the ship, and I'm sure that comes with a you can't tell anybody kind of clause.
From what I've heard, haven't they had 3 separate sea trials now?
I don't know.
I believe they've had 3 separate sea trials, and from what I heard, they passed all of them.
Well, if they're not having 3 if they're passing. If they're having to go back out, it's because they failed on something and they had to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
If they're in the 3rd one, they failed twice.
Yeah.
So, but remember, they're checking like 6,000 things when they're out there. So they may have passed 4,000 of the 6,000 the first time.
Yeah.
And then maybe another. I don't know. Again, it's not all public information, and you get little dribs and drabs, and you don't know what's true.
Exactly.
And I don't like to talk about things unless that I can personally confirm that it's, well, at least to my belief, 99.9% true. Because there's so much garbage out there. Sometimes it's hard to weed through it.
There is a lot of garbage out there for sure.
So for me, a lot of times, unless it's a press release from the cruise line directly about something, we don't really like to talk about it because outside of that, it's hearsay. Anyway, let's see. They don't want to. Yep. Danny says it wasn't wine. Don't say that publicly. Y'all don't say that publicly. Right? You're just going to get yourself in trouble. Bev says Carnival's beverage policy does not allow any non-alcoholic beverages to be brought on board in bottles. Correct. Right. But we're not talking about bottles. We're talking about water bottles, not glass bottles, but the water plastic bottles. So.
But I think that's what she's referring to. I know, and it may have been Carnival. I know some of them you have to have anything like in cans.
Canned water. They make canned water.
They
believe
do
it or
make
not.
canned water.
Just for us cruisers. The Down Under cruiser says, let's face it, I would be complaining as well, only because I wish I could afford to live on it. But that is the price of being a business owner. Right? Absolutely. Agree.
Yep.
100%. Danny Mac says, it's like an episode of Survivor, right? I mean, it's a real, it's real life. Just put a bunch of cameras up and let's just watch it. Because there'll be people that would watch that. Heck, you guys watch us drive for 12 hours, for Pete's sake. You'd watch the shenanigans going on over there for sure.
Without a doubt.
Let's go. Let's just go video it.
Okay.
Macrina says, LOL, just imagine the HOA fees. Right? Patricia says, I'm picturing an episode of Death on the Nile. You just want to make sure everyone likes each other, or at least, right? Mark says, the country will shut down. Yeah, so it's a tough subject. To me, it's almost, I don't know. It for me, it's almost the same conversation with the stinking tablecloths. It's just, it's a no-win there either. Have them, don't have them, this, that, whatever. But I do agree, they should have probably given her a warning first.
I think that would have been the fair thing to do.
Yep. So, but... No.
But, as private as they have been, who knows, maybe they did give her a warning.
It's potential. But that wasn't, in the article, the press release. So, doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Considering the voyage has been delayed since May 24th during the passage of Belfast, membership has been frustration understandable. Long. This admits being one of the more outspoken members of various, it's a WhatsApp group. She says she was respectful to the other passengers, meaning she was willing to ask tough questions, especially as the delays keep coming. Her actual messages have not been released to the public, so we don't actually know what has been said. But she has reported that I was never rude or disrespectful, and I never participated in personal attacks. These were private conversations. I posted nothing on social media platforms. Frustration amongst the residents grew after every delay. I tended to be one of the more outspoken in asking important questions. Many of the residents thanked me privately for speaking up for the entire group. Thanked her privately and then complained privately as well to the board. Yeah. So, look, I understand. I oddly enough, I had a similar situation to me when I worked for another large company, and we would have these round tables usually once a month. And outside of the round tables, all the employees are like, yeah. And it comes time, and you have your little round table, and management's like, okay, say whatever you want to say. Won't be held against you.
Yeah, nobody says anything.
And I just sit there and I look around the table. Not one of these people are opening their mouth. Not one.
That was always me too. I was always the vocal one. Okay, everybody's talking about this.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and I would call a couple of people out. John, anything, John?
I don't think I ever called anybody out. I just said, okay,
oh, no, I
this
did.
is what's going on.
And they're like, no. And then, of course, I would then, like you, I would then be the mouth. Okay, well, since John's not going to say it, I'll say it. What many of the other people outside of John have been saying here is, look, sometimes things need to be said, whether you like to hear them or not. right? It's nice that the things that Villavi has been doing that we've been hearing. Don't know the rest of it. But again, if I had sold everything in my life to become a full-time resident on a ship, and there was delay after delay after delay after delay, I would be asking those hard questions as well.
I would as well.
And expect clear, concise, and honest answers.
Yep.
I don't want corporate drivel. My home you're talking about. It's part of your ship, but it's my home. I would like some clear answers. And I'm sure y'all would feel the same way, and that's probably what she felt like. But sometimes it's all in the delivery. And
I will agree there.
And the other issue is we are talking about a chat, and chat can be misconstrued words so quickly as opposed to the human voice. That's why I don't like chatting. Because you just sometimes don't get the
punctuation and
context.
Punctuation these days is not used the way that it needs to be.
No.
And so it is very open to the reader to how to interpret the intent. And text these days, it can definitely be misconstrued easily.
By the way, Mark's last comment was talking about the longshoremen, because he further says, I heard it will not affect cruise lines, only cargo ships. That isn't necessarily the truth, because it's the longshoremen that handle cruise ships as well. If they strike, they strike. And so, look, the cruise lines are just going to go hire somebody to drive the forklift. I mean, if the longshoremen are on strike, they're on strike. It's like the NFL years ago when the players went on strike, they just hired scabs to come in and play football so they could have their game. The cruise lines...
Every business does that.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a strike, every
Correct.
business hires somebody else to come in and replace them.
Yeah. The cruise lines are not going to stop their cruise. It just might be delayed by an hour or two because the people they hire aren't going to be as efficient because they don't know the system. So, again, if you're cruising October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, if that strike happens, just, you may depart the port a little bit later than normal. Or may even also be a little bit later in getting on the ship. Because remember, they've got to take off the luggage.
That is true. That is true.
Right? So, yeah. Anyway. Danny says, if I was the next lower outspoken passenger, I would be checking my back. Yeah, exactly, right? The next in line. Yeah. I guess nobody's going to, say anything now. And maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to, make her the example. We're going to cut this right here. Boom. We'll kick one off, right? Deal with the consequences from that.
Everybody's
but maybe that
gonna
shuts
know
everybody
about
up.
it and
Yeah.
nobody else will say a word. Yeah, that could be. That very well could be.
Man, talking about the mob now? Just saying. Go make a example of Tony, huh? He sleeps with the fishes. Literally.
Oh my goodness.
Antonio's like, maybe she had a really nice cabin and the other cruisers wanted it. Who knows, man? Then he says, Robert, you're annoying and your mother dresses you funny. Don't misread that because it's in a chat. Oh.
Don't get Mama Tall Man on bad side now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't want to upset Mama Tall Man. She will come kick your... Oh. I was just trying to think of some jokes from Yellowstone. They did all the mother jokes. But I'm going to take the high road tonight.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Patricia says her tone can't be judged properly and could be taken as whining. Yep. People can only handle so much money. Yep, I get that too. Yep. Mark says they are cleaning all the pineapples out of the cabins. Right?
Oh, my.
All right, guys. Well, look, we love each of you. We appreciate you all being here. Our goal will be Sunday this coming week. I think we might be, if we pull that off, I'm going to be by myself. Yeah, it's going to be next Monday.
It's going to have to be Monday.
So it'll be a next Monday show. So we hope you... Oh, we can't leave yet. I promised you all the theme song.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of new people with us tonight who have never heard the official, official theme song. Here it is.
the truth. You drive me crazy like no one else. The final moment before I lose myself. And it's no use working 9 to 5 if you want more than to stay alive. So come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, so come on over, we can make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, the morning light. Oh, I just wanna be your Superman. Come fly with me, just take my hand. And now that we are cruising in mid-flight, you better watch out for the kryptonite. So come on over, we can make it through, make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do, just what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night, we're dancing. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh, so come on over, we can make it through, make it through. Take my hand, I know just what to do, what to do. On the beat, keep dancing through the night. We stay up until the morning light, the morning light. Oh.
All right, our official, unofficial, official theme song, The
Did you
Morning Light.
Did you unmute us?
I did unmute us.
Woohoo!
Yes, I remember this time.
Yay.
Yes. And I forgot. We have a group cruise coming up, everybody. There
do.
is a bunch of new people on here. We want to cruise with you, too. So here is a little information on the group cruise.
Come join us November 8th, 2025.
There'll be meet and greets,
Parties,
pineapples.
ducks, and of course the live shows.
Don't miss our first ever group cruise. We'll see you on the horizon. Well, there you go. The group cruise next November on the Carnival Horizon. Again, there is the email. Just send us an email to tallmanscruiseadventures@gmail.com. For those who are new, we are not travel agents. So we did not set up this cruise to make money off you guys. We just want to go hang out with you. So for all the new people, come hang out with us and Macrina and Antonio and Danny Mac and all these guys that you see here on Chatter. Oh, wait a minute. Danny's not going. But come out with everybody else and hang out with us here on our group cruise. But
We're never going to let you hear the end of it, Danny.
yeah, and so we have an agent that's booking for us, somebody we've used for decades, that's taking care of all the logistics of the cruise. But you do have to book into the group to be part of all the group functions. So just send an email, and we'll glad to have you with us, especially you from down under. We'd like to have some. It's our first known Australian fans, right?
No,
No?
not at all.
No?
No,
Is there somebody else?
Yeah.
No. I thought those were the
we
first.
haven't seen them for a while.
We haven't seen them, yeah.
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 It's been a while.
Well, welcome down on the cruises. We
Absolutely.
are glad to have you here.
Yes, we are.
So, all right, well, I guess that's it. That's it then.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. We love you guys. We'll see you next week. Peace. Be safe.